talent, experience. It's a huge asset, and his track record speaks for itself. And um, when some of your best players or most accomplished players are also some of your best leaders or locker room people, um, it helps drive the culture of your team in the right direction. And so to have someone like him as a core piece of our locker room for the next several years makes a big difference. And you know, rookies come in and they're going to look to the players who are accomplished and say, "What is that? How does that guy conduct himself?" Because that's where I want to go with my career. And if they're looking at Kyle Rudolph, that's a really good thing for our team for how to show rookies what it looks like to conduct yourself as a pro. And then I don't know if you saw it, but he caught a pass I think right in front of you guys crossing the field today. That's just not an easy catch. I mean, it's low and he reaches out and extends his hands and snags it. And so that's one of his elite traits and something that he just does really naturally. And hopefully we get a lot of that from him this year. And then we're kind of winding down now to the end of mini camp. It's been a great 8.5 weeks, almost 9 weeks, and I think we've come together as a team and offensively, really gotten a good feel for what we can look like and what we can do well. And I think we've taken big strides in just improving the details of our offense. And then obviously defensively, there are high expectations here. And I think that, for good reason, it's a really good defense. So looking forward to finishing up tomorrow and then getting off for the summer break and catching our breath a little bit and recharging the batteries and then coming back ready to go at the end of July. But with that, I'll take any questions you have.
Now that you've pretty much gone through an entire spring, how do you compare your comfort level now with having a year under your belt versus coming here last year in the whirlwind and
I think it's helped to understand my teammates. It does feel like I'm starting over a little bit every year because you have new teammates, new system in this case, in some ways, and so it does feel a little new. But more outside of football, things have settled down, which is a really good thing. So consistency really helps. And I just got to comment on that sweatshirt every time I see it. That's outstanding. I mean, the 2000 Olympics, and that's beautiful.
well, I actually bought this in 1996. This
I believe that.
this sweatshirt is older than every rookie on the Vikings
Did
team.
you go to the Sydney
I
Olympics?
did. I covered
Okay.
it.
If you had said you didn't, it would be even more unique. But I'm glad you
I'm
went.
glad you're good.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks.
Kirk, now that most of the offseason stuff is completed, what has it been like to work with Gary Kubiak, and how much are you able to bounce different ideas off of him, and how often sees he
Yeah.
moves and stuff like that?
Yeah, he stands right behind the quarterbacks, right next to the quarterbacks, right behind the huddle every play. So you can hear his voice right after a player as you're dropping back of what he's thinking. Um, our coaches do a good job of they'll coach us sometimes through asking a question. They'll say, "Hey, what's your footwork there?" Rather than just tell you the answer, they'll make you process it. And I think that's a great style of coaching. And um, I'm excited about our leadership in the offensive room. When you look at the names, starting with Kevin, he's just a sharp mind, classy person, knows football really well, works at it, and just has a composure about him that I love to play with and for. And then you add, Gary Kubiak, Clint Kubiak, Rick Dennison, Brian Periani, Janoko, Drew Petzing, KP. It's just a really good group, and we just got to do what they tell us and get as many reps as we can because if we do that, I think we'll have a lot of success.
Kirk, is it any easier or more natural for you in year two to kind of be that vocal leader, maybe in a meeting room or a huddle or a locker room, now that you have a year under your belt?
I don't know that I am stepping it up at all. If anything, I may be dialing it back a little bit. I think last year I wanted to, assert myself as best I could so that there wasn't a, um, slow transition. But I do think this year it's just been, business as usual, and I don't think I've been any different. I don't think anybody would say I've suddenly turned the dial up at all. If anything, just more methodical and more trying to go about my business and do my part and make sure I'm coaching others, helping others, so that we're all on the same page.
Kirk, Rick Spielman was saying last week that the key this year is getting you to the quote next level. What do you got to do to get to the next level? And one of the things he cited was more play action. Would you concur with that?
Yeah, I think when you look at any numbers or analytics, I've been effective when play action plays are being called just traditionally, but then you look at really across the league, I think that's the case. And our analytics department sent me a really good summary a couple weeks ago over Memorial Day weekend that just showed that play action is just effective, period, and you got to call it more. And um, so I don't know that it's me. I think any quarterback should be getting a lot of play action opportunities just because of the nature of what it does for your slowing down the pass rush and creating explosive plays and giving you outlets in the flat that are good easy throws for productive gains. But I think the next level really is all about winning. I'm pretty much a 500 quarterback in my career so far, and I don't think that's where you want to be, and that's not why you um, are brought in or people are excited about you. So um, if I don't play well, if I don't have gaudy statistics, but we win multiple playoff games this year, the narrative will be I went to the next level. And I may not walk off the field every day feeling like I did, but if we win, that's the life of a quarterback is you are at the next level. And if I have my best year yet in 2019, but we're 8-8, I didn't go to the next level. So that's the reality of it. And I'm going to do all I can, control what I can control. And I think one thing I can do beyond just playing the best I can is to start really coaching and leading other people so that, um, you know, I can never walk off the field saying, hey, I did my part, but so and so didn't. That can't happen as a quarterback. You have to be bringing others along so that that isn't a point you're making at the end of a practice or a game. And so that's really what it's all about.
How often do you get those analytical reports?
Well, I just this offseason reached out to Scott, and just said, "Hey, can you get me things that jump out at you?" And um, right or wrong, good or bad, and if you see a narrative that's come along that you think is untrue, or you see one that you think is true, can you give me the numbers that back that up? And I think information is power, knowledge is power. So the more you can have, the better off you are. So I've kind of given them an open door to say, hey, here's my number. You reach out to me if you got anything, if anything jumps out at you, and then I'll occasionally ask. Like I asked him, hey, the fumbles last year, what was the story there, and uh, and so they had some good thoughts for me there, and just little things like that. I'm always trying to look for.
What's not true as far as the feedback you've gotten? Have you found some of the narratives not to be true?
Um, Well, the fumbles come to mind. I just think that what came out, they said, was that what you had fumbles lost. They said your actual fumbles were pretty on par, which again, you want to be in the lower half of the league, right? So to be on par still isn't good enough. But they said the problem is yours were lost. The other team recovers them, whereas some guys will fumble and they'll fall on it, or an lineman or fall on it, or whatever. So they said the key is if you fumble, you can't lose it. And so those are good statistics to have. And then you go back and you look with your coaches at what are the fundamentals that I can change to prevent what those numbers are saying. So that's I don't know if that helps, but
You guys are implementing a new system, just like last year. Do you sense any improvement from the rest of the offense around you, picking up some of the terminology faster, just because they're just used to change?
yeah, hard to compare. I think it's hard to compare what we're doing compared to another year, how fast it is. I think it's pretty on par. Um, Plus, you have so many reps with the twos and the threes and guys who are down the line, and so a lot of your time is spent getting players who, were playing in a college team last year, and they're going to be, struggling to pick it up regardless of what it is. So, um, we'll just keep using these reps, using these practices, and using training camp to make sure we're airtight on what we're doing.
Kirk, how
Last
close
couple
is
guys.
this to what you did previously, offensively, terminology wise and scheme wise, to Washington?
Terminology is different. We're saying different words, but at times calling the same thing. Um, it's been an evolution, and so it's a moving target a little bit. You can't take a snapshot of the 2012 Redskins offense and say it's so similar, because even plays that are meant to be similar have evolved as defenses have evolved, as offenses have found ways to do things better. Um, so and then I got in that system, if you want to call it that, with Sean McVay in Washington, but then he's evolved that quite a bit when I watch through the TV of what he's doing with the Rams. And so technically, is it the same system? Yes. Are you doing the same things? Is the philosophy the same? I don't know. It still looks kind of different to me. So there's changes, there's similarities. I'll put it this way: I couldn't just go out to practice, without looking at the playbook, without looking at notes, I wouldn't have been able to do much. It's new enough that I've really got to go over things and make sure I understand it in terms of the route depths and the snap counts and the concepts because it is different.
Good.
Okay, thank you.